वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं मुदीरयेत्. So we will continue to the discussion on the first chapter, and this where we see very detailed discussion, rather the enlightenment by Vasudeva. He is enlightening, he is educating, he is opening the eyes of Kamsa, who is very cruel and demoniac. He is persuading him by giving him the knowledge of self-realization, and he is convincing him not to commit such a sinful act of killing his sister and thereby trying to harm the possibility. So we'll continue. We did 44th we have done, or we have to do 44th?
44 we have to start, Prabhuji.
Okay. We have done 40 till 43. So far we see an elaborate education being given, enlightenment being given by Vasudeva. Just to recap, that Vasudeva, who was situated on the transcendental position, advised Kamsa not to commit further sinful activities. Kamsa, representative of the demons, was always ready to kill Kṛṣṇa or God, whereas Vasudeva represents the transcendentally situated person to whom Kṛṣṇa is born. Vasudeva is the son of Vasudeva. Vasudeva wanted his brother-in-law Kamsa to refrain from the sinful act of killing his sister, since the result of being agitated by material nature would be that Kamsa would have to accept a body in which to suffer again and again. So not only of his selfish interest of trying to save his wife, Vasudeva was persuading Kamsa, but he wanted, as a compassionate, transcendentally situated personality, he wanted to save Kamsa from gliding down to hellish life. Tasmana kasyachid droham acharetsa tatha vidha atmanam shemam anuvikchan drogdurva parato bhaya. Therefore, so Vasudeva is continuing to speak. Therefore, since envious, impious activities cause a body in which one suffers in the next life, why should one act impiously? Considering one's welfare, one should not envy anyone. For an envious person must always fear harm from his enemies, either in this life or in the next. So these are moral principles which is being shared, which is being told by Vasudeva to Kamsa. Instead of being inimical towards other living entities, one should act piously by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord. Thus, avoid a fearful situation both in this life and in the next. In this regard, the following moral instruction by the great politician Chanakya Pandit is very meaningful. So Prabhupada is quoting Chanakya Pandit. Tyajya durjana samasargam bhaja sadhu samagamam kuru punyam ahoratram smaranityam anityatam. One should give up the company of devils, demons, and non-devotees, and should always associate with devotees and saintly persons. Asat Sang Tyag. This is the foremost instruction. And what is the don't is not to associate with the non-devotees, the atheistics, the demons, and always associate with devotees, sadhu sang. One should always act piously. When one is in good sangha, when one is with the sadhu sangha, what he will do? He will perform devotional service. So one should act piously, thinking that this life is temporary and should not be attracted to temporary happiness and distress. The Krishna consciousness movement is teaching all the human society this principle of becoming Krishna conscious and thus solving the problems of life forever. Tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti so Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita 4.9. Esha tava anuja bala Kṛṣṇa putri kopama Hantum narhasi kalyanim imam tvam dina vatsala. So see the beauty, how he is persuading. Very, very beautiful composition. As your younger sister, the poor girl Devaki is like your daughter. Esha tav anuja. Anuja means younger. And bala means one who is helpless, innocent. Immature also. They are like we say balak. So the girls are called bala, those who are of young age. And Kṛṣṇa, and he says she is completely dependent on you. And she is putri kopama, a younger sister, a sister who is helpless, who is immature, is to be treated like one's own daughter. So as your younger sister, this poor girl Devaki is like your own daughter and deserves to be affectionately maintained. Why? Because daughters are to be given all affection. You are merciful and therefore you should not kill her. Indeed, she deserves your affection. So he's invoking, and the demon also he is invoking some affection. This is expertise. Shri Shuka uvacha evam sa samabhir bhedhe bodhyamano api daruna nanyaya vartate kauravya purusadan anuvrata. Shukdev Goswami continued, O best of Kuru dynasty, Kamsa was fiercely cruel and was actually a follower of the Rakshasas. Therefore, he could be neither pacified nor terrified by the good instructions given by Vasudeva. He did not care about the results of sinful activities, either in this life or in the next. So this is the character of a demonic person, a non-devotee. If you give him good advice, if you even share with him how good fortune can come upon him, very difficult. He is not interested. Matirna Kṛṣṇa parato svatova. On their own, they have no good understanding. They have no inclination for Krishna consciousness. Matir na Kṛṣṇa, parato means from within. So from others, parato means from others, and satova means from within. So here, Sukadeva Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj that whatever good instruction was given by Vasudeva, Kamsa did not care about it. Nirbandham tasya tam gyatva vichintaya anakdundubhi. This is very beautiful name of Vasudeva. What is the name? Anakdundubhi. Praptam kalam prativyodham idam tatra anavapadayata. When Vasudeva saw that Kamsa was determined to kill his sister Devaki, he thought of himself very deeply. Considering the imminent danger of death, he thought of another plan to stop Kamsa. Very practically we can see In our life also we face such situations where sometimes those who are opposing us, they are just very rigid just to oppose. So in that situation, what we should do, we should learn. We can learn so many practical lessons from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Although Vasudeva saw the imminent danger that his wife Devaki would be killed, he was convinced of his welfare because at his birth, the demigods had played drums and kettle drums. So this is Anak Dundubhi. One another name of Vasudeva is Anek Dundubhi. One thing. So Prabhupada is mentioning here in the purport that why he has this name of Anaka Dundubhi. Anaka means many and Dundubhi. Dundubhi means the cattle drums. So at the time of the birth of Vasudeva, all the demigods had played drums and cattle drums. So he was convinced of his welfare, that he had the blessings of all the devas. He therefore attempted another way to save Devaki. Mrityur buddhi matapo yaha yavad buddhi balodayam yadiya sona nivarteta na prado asti dehina. As long as he has intelligence and bodily strength, an intelligent person must try to avoid death. This is the duty of every embodied person. But if death cannot be avoided in spite of one's endeavor, a person facing death commits no offenses. We'll try to understand this principle. It is natural for a person facing untimely death to try to best to save himself. This is one's duty. Although death is sure, everyone should try to avoid it and not meet death without opposition, because every living soul is by nature eternal. Because death is a punishment imposed in the condemned life of material existence. The Vedic culture is based on avoiding death. Tyaktva deham punar janma neiti. Bhagavad-gītā 4.9. Everyone should try to avoid death and rebirth by cultivating spiritual life, and should not submit to death without struggling to survive. One who is not trying to stop death is not an intelligent human being. Because Devaki was face to face with imminent death, it was Vasudeva's duty to save her, as he was trying his best to do. He therefore considered another way to approach Kamsa so that Devaki would be saved. I would want to know your understanding on what Srila Prabhupada has given this purport. Prabhupada is saying here that for a person facing untimely death, to try his best to save himself, this is one's duty. And Prabhupada is again saying that the Vedic culture is based on avoiding death. Everyone should try to avoid death and rebirth by cultivating spiritual life, and should not submit to death without struggling to survive. So what is the purport of what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here? How one can avoid death? Even if one tries, can one avoid death? What is the understanding? Don't wait for others to speak. What is your understanding? You speak. Put your heart in hearing. Hearing is done by heart, not by organs. Bolo, I have to name you. You will not speak. Manoram Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Avoiding death means Prabhuji, practicing the process of Krishna consciousness so that one gets a spiritual body rather than not getting a material body in next life.
So why you are waiting? You should speak. You have the perfect answer. So that means one who has got this human form of life, he must cultivate spiritual knowledge. He must practice the path of Krishna consciousness, so that after putting this body, he does not have to take any further material body. And he conquers death. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Any other view?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, as we are a spirit soul, we are eternal, so there is no death of the spirit soul. And we can avoid death by avoiding the birth. And Lord Krishna says that Janma Karma Chame Divyam Yojanati Tattvataha. If one understand about the activities and pastime of the Supreme Lord, in truth, he can avoid this birth. That means Tapta Deham Punarjanma. He does not have to take any birth again.
So what one
There
has
is
to
no-
do?
So there is no birth, means there is no death. So one has to understand the about Lord Krishna in truth and engage in a devotional service.
What is how to understand Krishna in truth? What one has to do?
One has to hear Prabhuji with
Yeah.
submission from the.
We have to have Katha Ruchi. We have to develop Krishna Katha Ruchi. Then we can conquer death. Simple. Very simple. If we have genuine Krishna Katha Ruchi, then death can be conquered. And if we do not develop Krishna Katha Ruchi, if we have Ruchi in Deha, then we will die for sure. We have to develop detachment from the body, from the matter, and develop detachment for spirit soul, the Supreme Spirit Krishna. How? By the process of hearing. Okay, move forward. Verse 49 and 50. Pradaya mrityave putran moche kripanam imam sutame yadi jeran mrityurvanam riyate cheta viparyayo vakim nasyat gatim dhatur duratyaya upasthito nivarteta nivritta punar. Vasudev considered, by delivering all my sons to Kamsa, who is death personified, I shall save the life of Devaki. Perhaps Kamsa will die before my sons take birth. Or since he is already destined to die in the hands of my son, one of my sons may kill him. For the time being, let me promise to hand over my sons, so that Kamsa will give up his immediate threat. And in due course of time, Kamsa dies, I shall have nothing to fear. In such a situation also, in such adverse and in such difficult situation, see how pacified was the intelligence, how balanced was the intelligence of Vasudeva. So Vasudeva wanted to save the life of Devaki by promising to deliver his sons to Kamsa. In the future, he thought Kamsa may die, or I may not beget any sons. Even if a son is born and I deliver him to Kamsa, Kamsa may die at his hands. For by the providence, anything could happen. It is very difficult to understand how things are managed by providence. Thus, Vasudeva decided to save Devaki from the imminent danger of death. He would promise to deliver his sons into the hands of Kamsa. Hare Krishna. Deyashil Prabhu, Ramya is not hearing with you today?
Prabhuji is hearing, she is hearing, Prabhuji.
Huh? She is hearing?
She is hearing, Prabhuji.
Okay. Agner yatha daru viyog yogayor adrishto anyana nimitamasti evam hi jantur avidur vibhavya sharira samyog viyoga hetu. When a fire for some unseen reasons leaps over one piece of wood and sets fire to the next, the reason is destiny. Similarly, when a living being accepts one kind of body and leaves aside another, there is no other reason than unseen destiny. So this is the philosophy which has been given. When there is fire in the village, the fire sometimes jumps over one house and burns another. Similarly, when there is forest fire, the fire sometimes jumps over one tree and catches another. Why this happens, no one can say. One may set forth some imaginary reason why the nearest tree or house did not catch fire, whereas a tree or house in a distant place did. But actually, the reason is destiny. This reason also applies to the transmigration of the soul, by which a prime minister in one life may become a dog in the next. So Prabhupada has this very classic statement. Prabhupada is hammering because one of the prime minister of this country, he became a dog in his next life. So Prabhupada was always very vocal about it. So Prabhupada is saying, a prime minister in one life will become a dog in the next. The work of unseen destiny cannot be ascertained by practical experimental knowledge. And therefore, one must be satisfied by reasoning that everything is done by supreme providence. So who is pacifying his mind? See Vasudeva, how he is pacifying himself, and he will pacify Kamsa. So in difficult situations, what we have to learn not to get panicked. Evam vimashriya tam papam yavadatmani darshanam pujayam asavai sauri bahumana pura harshanam. Thus, after considering the matter as far as his knowledge would allow, Vasudeva submitted his proposal to the sinful Kamsa with great respect. Also see the approach with great respect. The demoniac people, they cannot be corrected by criticism or by force. So what we have to do? We have to take a humble position. Prasanna vadanambujo narshamsam nirapatrapam manasa duyamanena vihasan idam avravid. Vasudeva's mind was full of anxiety because his wife was facing danger. But in order to please the cruel, shameless and sinful Kamsa, he externally smiled and spoke to him as follows. Prasanna vadanam ambojha. Vadana ambojha. With a smile, with a happy face. Sometimes one must act dupliciously in a dangerous position, as Vasudeva did to save his wife. The material world is complicated, and to execute one's duty, one cannot adopting such diplomacy. Vasudeva did everything possible to save his wife for the sake of begetting Kṛṣṇa. So this was the purpose, why he was trying to save his wife, not just because of his bodily attachment. Rather, they had just been married. They had not, been together at all. They were to be, but in between came Kamsa. So, what was the purpose of Vasudeva pleading and persuading Kamsa? Is because for the sake of begetting Kṛṣṇa. This indicates that one may act dupliciously for the purpose of saving Kṛṣṇa and his interest, not otherwise. This is the only exception. Only for the purpose of saving Kṛṣṇa and his interest. Can you give any example? Some examples from Shastras, from personalities, acting diplomatically or dupliciously for saving Kṛṣṇa and his interest, or saving one's Kṛṣṇa consciousness, or saving the Kṛṣṇa consciousness of others. Bolo, jaldi bolo. Where you see examples? Yes, Ganesh.
Prabhuji, in the battlefield, Yudhishthira Maharaj told that I don't know the name, Prabhuji. One elephant died.
Ashwathama.
Ashwathama.
Hmm.
So
Ashwathama.
as per
Yeah.
Krishna's
Okay.
instruction.
Yeah, as per. Although with a lot of hesitation, first he refused and finally he spoke. Okay. Where are the other examples? Quickly, Prabhus, Matas. Bolo. Sanatan Goswami, Srila Sanatan Goswami. He told the Nawab that he is not well. He cannot come and perform his duties as the minister. And what was he doing? He was studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And then he ran away. He bribed the jailer and then he ran away. Raghunath Das Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, all of them. All of them. If you see in the life of Acharya, you see the life of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada told his wife, do you want me or tea? Prabhupada took that. Prabhupada left him. Sripad Ramanujacharya. So in the life of all the Acharyas, this principle is there. So we should know what is the purpose. So Prabhupada is saying here, for the purpose of saving Krishna and his interest. According to the arrangement already foretold, Krishna was to appear through Vasudeva and Devaki to kill Kamsa. Vasudeva, therefore, had to do everything to save the situation. Although all the events were prearranged by Krishna, a devotee must try his best to serve the purpose of Krishna. So you see, this is service. This attempt which is being made sincerely by Vasudeva is very great devotional service. Although Prabhupada is mentioning here that although all events were prearranged by Krishna, a devotee must try his best to serve the purpose of Krishna. Krishna himself is all powerful, but it is not that a devotee should therefore sit idle and leave everything to him. This instruction is also found in Bhagavad Gita. Although Krishna was doing everything for Arjuna, Arjuna never sat down idly as a non-violent gentleman. Rather, he tried his best to fight the battle and be victorious. So this is a very important principle. We must perform our endeavor, our attempt. That chestita has to be there. Chesta has to be as if everything depends on us, but we depend on the Lord. So all the best effort, the endeavor, the earnest endeavor has to be made. However difficult the situation may be, one should not give up. And one should not think Krishna will himself do it. This is for his cause. Shri Vasudeva Uvacha Nahi asya ste bhayam saumya yadva sahas sharirabhaka putran samarpaya yase asya yataste bhayam utthitam. Vasudeva said, "O best of the sober, you have nothing to fear from your sister Devaki. Because of what you have heard from the unseen omen, that is the Akashvani, the cause of death will be her sons. Therefore, I promise that when she gives birth to the sons from whom your fear has arisen, I shall deliver them all unto your hands." Kamsa feared Devaki's existence because after her 8th pregnancy, she would give birth to a son who would kill him. Vasudeva, therefore, to assure his brother-in-law the utmost safety, promised to bring him all the sons. He would not wait for the 8th son, but from the very beginning would deliver to the hands of Kamsa all the sons to which Devaki would give birth. This was the most liberal proposition offered by Vasudeva to Kamsa. So the reason of fear in the heart of Kamsa was the 8th son. And Vasudeva proposed, as soon as the son is born, I will hand over the son to you. And the infant baby, you can very easily kill him. So where is the cause of fear in your heart? Shri Shuka Uvacha Swasurvardha Nivarvate Kamsas Tadvakya Sharavita Vasudeva Api Tam Prita Prasasya Pravishadgriham. Srila Shukdev Goswami continued, Kamsa agreed to the logical arguments of Vasudeva, and having full faith in Vasudev's word, he refrained from killing his sister. Vasudeva, being pleased with Kamsa, pacified him further and entered his own house. Although Kamsa was a sinful demon, he believed that Vasudeva would never deviate from his word. The character of a pure devotee like Vasudeva is such that even so great a demon as Kamsa firmly believed in his word and was satisfied. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarver gunastatra samasate sura. All good attributes are present in a devotee, so much so that even Kamsa believed in Vasudeva's words without a doubt. Atha kala upavritte devaki sarva devata putrana prashishu sve chakso chasto kanyam cheva anuvatsaram. Anuvatsara means after each year. Each year thereafter, in due course of time, Devaki, the mother of God, and all the demigods. Devaki Sarva Devataha. She is the mother of Kṛṣṇa, and Kṛṣṇa is the God of all demigods. Gave birth to a child. Thus she bore 8 sons, one after another, and a daughter named Subhadra. Very important. Many times people ask that where is Subhadra in Krishna Leela, where she appears all of a sudden. No, Subhadra is there from the very beginning. Here she is. That the daughter which was born was Subhadra. The spiritual master is sometimes glorified as Sarv Devo Maya Guru. By the grace of the Guru, the spiritual master, one can understand the difficult kinds of devas. The word deva refers to God and Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original source of all the demigods, who are also called devas. In the Bhagavad Gita 10:2, the Lord says, Aham Adir Hi Devana. I am the source of all the devas. So Prabhupada is giving the explanation to the word Devaki Sarva Devata. I am the source of all the devas. The Supreme Lord Vishnu, the original person, expands in different forms. Tat ekshata bahusyam. Chandrogya Upanishad. He alone has expanded into many. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. Brahma Samhita. There are different grades of forms known as Swamsha and Vibhinamsha. Many times we have discussed. Swamsha means the expansions of the Supreme Lord. And Vibhinansha means the separated parts. The Vibhinansha is the living entity, Jiva, and Swamsha is the Vishnu Tattva. The Prabhupada explains. The Swamsha expansions of Vishnu Tattva are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas the Vibhinanshas are the Jiva Tattva, who are part and parcel of the Lord. Mame Vansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Bhagavad Gita 15:7. If we accept Kṛṣṇa as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and worship him, all the parts and expansions of the Lord are automatically worshipped. Sarva Arhanam Achyutejya Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Kṛṣṇa is known as Achyuta. Senayor Bhyor Madhe Ratham Sthapaya Me Achyut. Bhagavad Gita 1:21. By worshipping Achyut Kṛṣṇa, one automatically worships all the demigods. So this must be the trust, this must be the belief, this must be the practice. That if one has worshipped Kṛṣṇa, one has automatically worshipped all the demigods. There is no need to separately worship either the Vishnu Tattva or the Jiva Tattva. Prabhupada is saying very important thing. What to speak of demigod, he is saying not even Vishnu Tattva, and what to speak of Jiva Tattva. If one concentrates upon Krishna, one worships everyone. Therefore, because Mother Devaki gave birth to Krishna, she is described here as Sarva Devata. Kirtyamantam Prithatmajam Kamsaya Nagdundubhi Arpayam Kricharena So Anrita Ativivala. Vasudeva was very much disturbed by fear of becoming liar by breaking his promise. Thus, with great pain, he delivered his firstborn son named Kirtima into the hands of Kamsa. So these are all Vasus who were born as the first sixth male child. His name is Kirtima. But here Prabhupada is focusing upon the promise. This is a true devotee who always fulfills his promise. In the Vedic system, as soon as the child is born, especially a male child, the father calls the learned Brahmana, then according to the description of the child's horoscope, the child is immediately given a name. This ceremony is called Namkaran. There are 10 different samskar or reformatory methods adopted in the system of Varnashram Dharma, and the name-giving ceremony is one of them. Although Vasudeva's first son was to be delivered into the hands of Kamsa, the Namkaran ceremony was performed, and thus the child was called named Kirtiman. Such names are given immediately after birth. Kim duhasham no sadhunam vidusam kim apekshitam kim akaryam padarmayana Dushradam kim dharmatmanam. What is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? What could not be independence for pure devotees who know the Supreme Lord and His substance? What deeds are forbidden for person of the lowest character? And what cannot be given up for the sake of Lord Krishna by those who have fully surrendered to the lotus feet? So this is all glorification of Vasudeva. Since the eighth son of Devaki was to kill Kamsa, one might ask, what was the need for Vasudeva to deliver the firstborn child? The answer is that Vasudeva had promised Kamsa that he would deliver all the children born of Devaki. Kamsa, being an asura, did not believe that the eighth child would kill him. He took it for granted that he might be killed by any of the children of Devaki. This is because of, actually, Kamsa did not want to kill the first child. This is because of, yes, Ramya?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Narad Muni.
Yes. Narad Muni wanted to see to it that Kamsa's life has to become short. So what he has to do, he has to perform more sin. So he thought that if Kamsa allowed all the children to live, then maybe he will live long. And Krishna will take more time to appear. So his sin were to be accumulated more. So what he did? Can you explain, Ramya, what Narad Muni did? How he bewildered Kamsa?
Krishna Prabhuji, Narad Muni told that he was Kalanemi in his last birth and he was killed by Vishnu. And so, and all the demigods are coming in the Kṛṣṇa dynasty to kill him.
Very good. And what analogy he gave? What he was holding in his hand? Anyone else who knows? Yes, Sonika?
Prabhuji, it was lotus flower, and it can be counted from anywhere, from 1 to 8 or 8 to 1.
So it was a 8-petal lotus. 8-petal lotus, and Narad began to count. That is one that could become eight, and eight could become one. When he was circling the fingers on the petals of the lotus. So in this way, he confused. So Narad Muni wanted to expedite. Acharya says that Narad Muni wanted to expedite the appearance of Kṛṣṇa. So he persuaded Kamsa to kill all the innocent child, so that his end will come more sooner. Vasudeva, therefore, to save Devaki, promised to give Kamsa every child, whether male or female. From another point of view, Vasudeva and Devaki were very pleased when they understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kṛṣṇa would come as their eighth son. Vasudeva, a pure devotee of the Lord, was eager to see Kṛṣṇa appear as his child from the eighth pregnancy of Devaki. Therefore, he wanted to deliver all the children quickly so that the eighth turn would come and Kṛṣṇa would reappear. Kṛṣṇa would appear. He begat one child every year so that Kṛṣṇa's turn to appear would come as soon as possible. Also, one devotee was very nicely explaining. You see what kind of selfless service is there by Vasudeva and Devaki. Which mother and father will bear a child when they know he will be killed? One was killed, second was also killed, third was also killed. If after seeing 1, 2, 3 of their newborn sons being killed mercilessly, who would bear the child? Will any father and mother bear? No. So how much of pain and how much of tribulation would be there in their heart? See the service of Vasudeva and Devaki. Can anyone compare to such selfless devotional service, such sacrifice to what Devaki and Vasudeva did? We want on Janmāṣṭamī Kṛṣṇa to appear. What sacrifice are we willing? What sacrifice Vasudeva and Devaki did that finally Kṛṣṇa appeared? This is very important. That the kind of pain and agony they accepted to have Kṛṣṇa. My dear King Parikshit, when Kamsa saw that Vasudeva, being situated in truthfulness, was completely equipoised in giving him the child, he was very happy. Therefore, with a smiling face, he spoke as follows. The word samatvam is very significant in this verse. Samatvam refers to one who is always equipoised. Kṛṣṇa many times uses this word samatvam in Bhagavad Gita. Anyone remembers where Kṛṣṇa uses samatvam? Samatvam yoga uchyate. Many places Kṛṣṇa is using. Find out where it is. The homework. Vasudeva was steadily equipoised that he did not seem to be at least agitated when delivering his firstborn child into the hands of Kamsa to be killed. In 2.56, it is said, Dukkheshu anudvigmana, Sukheshu vigaspriha. What is the next line? 2.56. Yes? Boliye. Dukkheshu anudvigmana, Sukheshu vigaspriha. What is the next line? Bolo. Yes, Ramya? Yeah. Vitaraga bhaya krodha. Vit means freed. From what is rag? How much attachment is there for mother and father for the newly born child? So he is freed from that rag. And he is also freed from bhaya. He had no fear. Why? Because he always knew that Kṛṣṇa will protect. And he is also free from krodha. You see, if he were being affected by krodha, then he would start to have quarrel with Kamsa. And then the 8th child was to kill. Why you want to kill my first child? He's completely free. So dukkheshu anudvignamana and sukheshu vigasmi. So such a person is sthitadhir muni, sthitadhi, one who is completely equipoised, perfectly in transcendental consciousness. Such a person is muni, uchite. In this material world, one should not be very eager to be happy, nor should be one very much disturbed by material distress. Lord Kṛṣṇa advised Arjuna, Matra sparshas-tu kaunteya, shito ishno sukha dukkhada, agama paino nityas, tam titishasva bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and the disappearance in due course are all like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. The self-realized soul is never disturbed by so-called distress or happiness. And this is especially true of an exalted devotee like Vasudeva, who showed this by his practical example. Vasudeva was not at all disturbed when delivering his first child to Kṛṣṇa to be killed. Let me see how many verses are there. Oh, there are many. We won't be able to complete today. We'll complete it tomorrow. Okay. So I'll stop here. We have done till 59. We'll resume from 60 tomorrow. Possibly tomorrow we'll complete this first chapter of the 10th Canto. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Any question, any discussion? So we see in this section, it's a long section. So much emphasis is given on the character of Vasudeva, his transcendental qualities and his demeanor. How balanced he was. He was not disturbed by the externals. And in such difficult situation, in such trying situation, he pacified Kamsa. And he was able to save the life of Devi. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Any question, any discussion? There's a lot to learn from the character of Vasudeva. I don't see any genuine hand coming up, so that means there is nothing. So I'll stop here. We'll end here. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari.